With most horror film subgenres, there always seems to be a film or two that really defines all the tropes of the subgenres itself. Looking back at the monster movies of the 1930s and 40s, films like Dracula and the Wolfman stand out as perfect examples of films that set the standards. Fast forward to the late 1970s, and John Carpenter's Halloween brought the slasher formula to the mainstream. Of all the horror film trends that have come and gone recently or continue to live on, one of the most tired cliches is the zombie film. For the better part of a decade, it seems like you can't go anywhere without seeing zombie material. It's become so saturated, overdone, and completely run into the ground that not one fresh idea seems to remain. One can only hope that zombie movie lovers trace the subgenre back to its pivotal beginning and refer to Night of the Living Dead by George A. Romero. This film is a lot of things: dated, corny, and horribly acted, but also innovative, insightful, and utterly shocking.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
If you're looking for the zombie film that set the tropes for literally all of its modern counterparts, this is the one. Not that the idea of the undead wasn't already explored, but George A. Romero brought the zombie archetype to life, while also embedding his films with relevant social commentary. His 1968 film, Night of the Living Dead, was made for practically nothing, hardly $100,000, shot on 16mm film. It has a dirty documentary-style feel to it, similar to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The tropes it set up have been almost religiously followed since its release. How about the plot? An unknown event leads to hundreds of flesh-eating, seemingly dead humans romping across a small town. They move slowly and know nothing more than consuming human flesh. A group of strangers, alarmed by the events, seek refuge in an old, rickety house. As the intensity of their situation builds, tempers flare and these characters begin to clash as the doom outside awaits them. This setup has been used hundreds upon hundreds of times. I'm sure there may be earlier instances of when this kind of setup occurred in film, but if any film really made it work to its best potential, this may have been the one. I'm afraid that the movie fans of today won't be able to pick up on the things this film did so well because of the cheap production value and occasionally bad acting. There's so much more to this film than meets the eye, and simply giving it a chance would show so many people of how important this movie actually is. First off, this movie was practically the nail in the coffin for assigning films an R rating. Back then, films didn't really have to be restricted to the viewing public. This movie features what were some incredibly shocking images at the time: zombies eating human flesh, rotten corpses, and a young undead girl bludgeoning her mother to death. Brutal stuff. Even though the acting isn't great all around, the film features a very strong performance from the lead, Dwayne Jones. It's crucial to note that Jones represents one of the earliest African-American heroes in mainstream cinema, especially within the horror genre. Beneath the film also lies an enigmatic subtext that has been observed by many people over the years. The ideas range as to what Romero's trying to say, but the consensus is the film is saying something, which is more than a lot of the recent zombie films have tried to do. I could go on for a long time about the significance of this film, so I would rather encourage anyone with an interest to check this film out and see what things you can pick up on over time. Nearly 50 years after this film's release, it still holds up as one of the most effective and thought-provoking genre films of its kind. Give it a look.